valuable and rare, scratched Kennedy half-dollar might look like nothing more than old pocket change, but the right coin with the right details has sold for thousands, and in rare cases, tens of thousands, of dollars. Some of the most valuable Kennedy halves are hiding in collections, coin jars, and forgotten drawers across America. The surprising part? Many of them look worn, ugly, or heavily circulated, causing owners to overlook their true value. Before you spend another Kennedy half-dollar, you may want to take a closer look, because one small detail could turn a 50-cent coin into a life-changing payday. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar from Philadelphia, often called the 1973p by collectors, doesn't even display a visible mint mark like modern coins. Millions of Americans have handled these coins without giving them a second thought. Yet certain examples have quietly sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars, making this a fascinating coin to watch for. When you first find a 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, the most important thing to understand is that condition is everything. Unlike the earlier Kennedy halves made with silver, the 1973 Philadelphia issue was struck in copper nickel-clad composition and contains no silver. That means collectors are not paying for precious metal. They are paying for rarity, preservation, and eye appeal. The Philadelphia Mint produced nearly 65 million of these coins in 1973. That sounds like a huge number, and it is. But here is where the story gets interesting. Most of those coins entered circulation immediately. They rattled around in cash registers, pockets, purses, vending machines, and bank vaults for decades. As a result, truly high-grade examples became much harder to find than many people realize. Imagine opening an old coin jar inherited from a family member. Mixed among worn pennies and nickels, you spot a Kennedy half-dollar dated 1973. The coin looks dull and dirty. Most people would toss it aside as a 50-cent piece. But experienced collectors know better. They begin examining the coin under bright light, searching for strong details on Kennedy's hair, clean surfaces, and original mint luster. This is where ordinary pocket change can become surprisingly valuable. A heavily circulated 1973 Philadelphia Kennedy half-dollar is usually worth only a small premium above face value. But once a coin survives with minimal wear and strong eye appeal, collector demand increases dramatically. High-grade examples can command substantial premiums because so few escape decades of circulation. One of the easiest clues viewers can look for is the coin's overall shine. If the surfaces still display bright mint luster that rolls across the coin when tilted under light, that is a positive sign. Another clue is Kennedy's hair above the ear. On worn examples, the hair details become flat. On better preserved pieces, the hair strands remain sharp and distinct. The edges can tell a story too. Since this coin is clad rather than silver, a copper-colored stripe is visible along the edge. Many new collectors mistakenly believe any old Kennedy half-dollar contains silver. In reality, silver circulation issues ended before 1971, making the 1973 Philadelphia coin a clad issue. Now here comes the exciting part. Every year, collectors search through rolls and old collections hoping to discover exceptional examples that escape heavy use. Occasionally a coin surfaces with unusually clean surfaces, strong strikes, and beautiful original color. These coins can attract intense competition when offered for sale because advanced collectors are always chasing the finest known examples. There are also error coins to watch for. While most 1973 Philadelphia halves are normal, some collectors search for doubled details, off-center strikes, or other unusual minting mistakes. Error coins are often noticed only after careful inspection. A coin that appears ordinary at first glance may reveal something unusual under magnification, turning an overlooked half-dollar into a highly desirable collectible. Think about how many people have spent Kennedy half-dollars without looking closely. Banks, casinos, estate sales, flea markets, and family collections have all released these coins back into circulation over the years. Every time that happens, another opportunity appears for a sharp-eyed collector. Another reason the 1973 Philadelphia issue remains interesting is that Philadelphia coins from this period carry no visible mint mark. Many beginners assume the missing mint mark means they have discovered an error. In fact, that is normal for Philadelphia issues of the era. Collectors identify the coin by the absence of a mint mark. Picture a collector sorting through a pile of old half-dollars late at night. Most coins are heavily worn. Then one stands out. The surfaces are brighter. The details are sharper. The coin simply looks different. That moment of discovery is what keeps coin hunters searching year after year. The beauty of the 1973 Philadelphia Kennedy half-dollar is that it teaches an important lesson. Value is not always determined by age or silver content. Sometimes the real prize is preservation. A common coin that survives in extraordinary condition can become far more desirable than a much older coin that has been heavily worn. That's why experienced collectors never ignore Kennedy half-dollars. They know that among thousands of ordinary examples, there may be one exceptional survivor waiting to be found. So if you come across a dirty, scratched, or forgotten 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, don't dismiss it too quickly. Check the date carefully. Next coin. The 1980 Philadelphia Kennedy half-dollar, often called the 1980p by collectors, is one of those coins that tends to be ignored. It doesn't contain silver. It isn't especially old. And because half-dollars rarely circulate today, many people assume these coins are common and worth only face value. That assumption has caused countless valuable examples to be overlooked. Imagine cleaning out an old dresser drawer or opening a forgotten coin jar that has been sitting untouched for decades. Mixed among ordinary coins is a Kennedy half-dollar dated 1980. The coin looks worn, dull, and perhaps even a little dirty. Most people would think they are looking at 50 cents. A collector, however, sees something completely different. The first thing experienced collectors understand is that condition can transform an ordinary coin into a valuable collectible. Millions of 1980 Philadelphia Kennedy half-dollars were struck, but very few survived in truly exceptional condition. Most were stored carelessly, picked up scratches, suffered contact marks, or lost their original mint luster over time. That means collectors today are constantly searching for the finest examples they can find. The story begins at the Philadelphia Mint in 1980. Workers struck millions of Kennedy half-dollars bearing the portrait of President John F. Kennedy. These coins were intended for circulation, but by 1980 the half-dollar had already become less popular in everyday commerce. Many pieces ended up sitting in bank vaults, collections, and storage boxes rather than circulating heavily. Decades later, this creates an interesting situation. While many 1980p half-dollars still exist, locating one with outstanding eye appeal can be surprisingly difficult. If you're searching through old collections, one of the easiest clues to watch for is the coin's overall appearance. A high-quality example often has bright original luster that moves across the surface when tilted under a light. The coin should appear vibrant rather than dull. Collectors pay close attention to these details because original surfaces are highly desirable. Another important area is Kennedy's hair. The hair above the ear and around the top of the head should display sharp detail. On worn coins, these features become flat and smooth. Strong details suggest the coin may have seen little circulation and could attract more collector interest. The cheek area is another place to inspect. Because Kennedy's portrait is large and exposed, the cheek often picks up contact marks. A coin with fewer marks and cleaner surfaces usually stands out immediately from ordinary examples. Now here is where things become exciting. Most people think valuable coins must be extremely old. The 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollar proves that isn't always true. Collectors often compete fiercely for coins that represent the finest known examples of a particular date. When a coin survives in unusually high grade, its value can increase dramatically compared to a typical circulated piece. This means a coin that looks ordinary to one person may look extraordinary to an experienced collector. There is also the possibility of mean errors. While the majority of 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollars were struck normally, collectors continue searching for unusual pieces. Off-center strikes, doubled features, clipped planchets, and other minting mistakes can attract significant attention. Sometimes these errors are discovered years after the coin was produced. That's why careful inspection matters. Picture a collector sitting at a table with a magnifying glass and a stack of Kennedy half-dollars. One by one, the coins are examined. Most show ordinary wear. Then suddenly one coin appears different. The details are sharper. The surfaces are cleaner. The strike is stronger. That moment of discovery is what every collector hopes to experience. Another reason the 1980 P issue is interesting is that many people saved half-dollars during this era. Parents placed them in drawers. Grandparents tucked them away in envelopes. Some were forgotten entirely. Today those old stashes continue to emerge from estates, storage units, and family collections. Every time that happens, collectors get another chance to find exceptional examples. The Philadelphia Mint placed a small P mint mark on Kennedy half-dollars by 1980, making identification simple. When viewers examine their coins, they should look near the date area on the obverse to confirm the mint mark. This small detail helps distinguish Philadelphia issues from coins struck at other mints. What makes coin collecting so fascinating is that value often hides where nobody expects it. A coin doesn't need to be gold. It doesn't need to be silver. It doesn't even need to be hundreds of years old. Sometimes all it takes is outstanding preservation, a rare error, or a combination of features that collectors desperately want. Think about how many 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollars have been ignored over the years. Some were spent without a second glance. Others sat untouched in jars and boxes. Yet among those ordinary-looking coins could be a remarkable survivor worth far more than face value. This is exactly why experienced collectors never rush when examining Kennedy half-dollars. They know the difference between an average coin and an exceptional coin can mean the difference between 50 cents and a surprisingly valuable collectible. So before you dismiss a 1980 Philadelphia Kennedy half-dollar as common pocket change, take a closer look. Check the surfaces. Examine the details. Search for strong luster and unusual features. Look carefully for mint errors. The dirty or scratched coin sitting unnoticed in a collection today could become tomorrow's exciting discovery. Next coin. The 1997 P. Kennedy half-dollar doesn't seem like the kind of coin that could attract serious attention. It isn't made of silver. It isn't one of the famous early Kennedy issues from the 1960s. And because millions were produced, most people assume it's worth only 50 cents. That assumption has caused many collectors and non-collectors alike to overlook some surprisingly valuable coins. Imagine you're sorting through an old family collection. You find a stack of Kennedy half-dollars, and one of them is dated 1997 with a small P mint mark. The coin looks ordinary. Maybe it has a few scratches. Maybe it has spent years sitting in a drawer. Most people would toss it back into the pile without a second thought. But experienced collectors know that appearances can be deceiving. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 20 million Kennedy half-dollars in 1997, making it a relatively common date in terms of mintage. However, what matters most is not how many were produced, it's how many survive in exceptional condition. This is where the story gets interesting. Many Kennedy half-dollars from the 1990s never circulated heavily because half-dollars had largely disappeared from everyday commerce. Instead, they were stored in bags, boxes, desk drawers, and coin collections. While that sounds like good news, storage often created a different problem. Coins bumped into one another, picked up scratches, and lost the brilliant surfaces they had when they left the mint. As a result, finding a truly outstanding 1997p today can be much harder than many people expect. One of the first things collectors look for is original mint luster. When a coin is tilted under a bright light, the surface should appear vibrant and alive. The light should move smoothly across the coin. If the coin still has that fresh from the mint appearance after nearly 3 decades, collectors immediately take notice. Next, they examine Kennedy's portrait. The cheek is especially important. Because it is one of the highest points on the design, it often collects marks from contact with other coins. A cleaner cheek usually means a more desirable coin. Collectors also inspect the hair details above Kennedy's ear and around the top of his head. Sharp details can indicate minimal wear and stronger preservation. Now here's where things become exciting. Most circulated 1997p Kennedy half-dollars are worth little more than face value. But when a coin survives in exceptionally high grades, values can rise dramatically. Some top-quality examples have sold for hundreds of dollars, and the finest known specimens have approached the 4-figure range at auction. Think about that for a moment. A coin that millions of people would ignore could potentially be worth hundreds or even nearly $1,000 if it possesses the right combination of preservation, eye appeal, and rarity in top condition. That's what makes coin collecting so fascinating. The difference between an ordinary coin and a highly valuable coin often comes down to details that most people never notice. Two 1997p Kennedy half-dollars might look identical from across the room. Yet one could be worth 50 cents while the other attracts serious collector interest because of its superior condition. Another factor collectors watch for is strike quality. Not every coin leaves the mint with exactly the same sharpness. Some examples display stronger details than others. A sharply struck coin often shows more definition in Kennedy's hair and clearer details throughout the design. Collectors appreciate these features because they help distinguish exceptional coins from average ones. Then there are mint errors. Every year, collectors search for unusual mistakes that escape the mint's quality control process. While most 1997p Kennedy half-dollars were struck normally, some collectors continue hunting for off-center strikes, doubled features, clipped planchets, and other unusual production errors. Imagine discovering that a coin sitting in a forgotten jar for years has an unusual mint error that nobody noticed before. Stories like that are one reason people continue searching through old collections every day. Many collectors also enjoy the challenge of finding high-grade modern coins because they are often overlooked. People assume modern coins cannot be valuable. That creates opportunities for knowledgeable collectors who know exactly what to look for. The 1997p Kennedy half-dollar is a perfect example. Because it isn't silver and isn't especially old, countless examples have been ignored. Yet registry-set collectors and serious Kennedy half-dollar enthusiasts are constantly searching for superior specimens. Competition becomes especially intense when an unusually well-preserved coin appears on the market. High-grade examples are surprisingly scarce compared to the total number originally minted. Picture a collector examining hundreds of Kennedy half-dollars one by one. Most look similar. Then one coin suddenly stands out. The luster is stronger. The surfaces are cleaner. The details are sharper. That single coin may become the prize of the entire group. Moments like that are what keep collectors searching. And remember, valuable discoveries don't always come from expensive purchases. Many great finds begin in coin jars, inherited collections, estate sales, bank rolls, and forgotten boxes stored in attics or closets. The next time you encounter a 1997 P. Kennedy half-dollar, don't judge it too quickly. Examine it carefully under good lighting. Look at the cheek. Check the hair details. Search for strong luster. Watch for unusual errors. Compare it with other examples. What appears to be a common 50-cent coin might actually be a remarkable survivor that collectors would love to own. Next coin. The 1999 P. Kennedy half-dollar doesn't contain silver, doesn't come from the early years of the series, and doesn't immediately stand out as a rare coin. To most people, it's simply another 50-cent piece. But that assumption has caused countless potentially valuable coins to be overlooked. Imagine finding a small box of old coins tucked away in a closet. As you sort through the collection, a 1999 Kennedy half-dollar catches your eye. The coin looks worn from age, perhaps a little dirty, and maybe even scratched. Most people would assume it's worth exactly 50 cents and move on. Experienced collectors think differently. They know that value isn't always determined by silver content or age. Sometimes the most surprising treasures are modern coins that survive in exceptional condition or display unusual characteristics that collectors actively seek. The story of the 1999 P. Kennedy half-dollar begins at the Philadelphia Mint, where millions of examples were struck. By this time, half-dollars were rarely seen in everyday circulation. Most Americans used quarters, dollar bills, debit cards, and credit cards. As a result, many Kennedy half-dollars spent years sitting in storage rather than changing hands daily. That sounds like good news for collectors, but there's a catch. Many coins were stored in bags, rolls, jars, and boxes where they constantly bump against one another. Over time, these contacts left marks, scratches, and other imperfections. While the coins technically remain uncirculated, many lost the flawless appearance collectors desire. This is why truly outstanding examples have become increasingly difficult to locate. When collectors examine a 1999 P. Kennedy half-dollar, one of the first things they notice is the luster. Original mint luster creates a bright, cartwheel-like effect when light moves across the surface. Coins that retain this fresh appearance often receive much more attention than dull or damaged examples. Next comes the portrait of President Kennedy. Collectors closely inspect the cheek, jawline, and hair details. These areas reveal a lot about the coin's condition. Fewer marks and sharper details usually mean greater collector interest. Two coins with the same date can have dramatically different values simply because one survived in superior condition. That may sound surprising, but it's one of the most important lessons in coin collecting. Many people focus only on the date. Serious collectors focus on condition. Now here's where things become exciting. Most 1999 P. Kennedy half-dollars are worth little more than face value. However, when an example survives in exceptional condition, collector demand can increase dramatically. High-grade coins are often sought by registry set collectors who compete to assemble the finest collections possible. These collectors are constantly searching for the best examples available. Imagine examining a group of 50 Kennedy half-dollars. At first they all look similar. Then one coin stands out immediately. Its surfaces are brighter. The details are sharper. The marks are fewer. The eye appeal is stronger. Suddenly that coin becomes much more interesting than the rest. That single coin could be the hidden gem every collector hopes to find. The 1999 P issue also attracts attention because many examples were saved rather than spent. Families put them aside as keepsakes. Some remain untouched in bank rolls for years. Others sat forgotten in drawers and storage boxes. Today, those old collections continue to reappear through estate sales, inheritances, and household cleanouts. Every rediscovered collection creates another opportunity for a valuable find. Collectors also watch carefully for mint errors. While most 1999 P. Kennedy half dollars were produced normally, unusual errors occasionally surface. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, doubled details, and other mint mistakes can attract strong collector interest. What's fascinating is that many error coins go unnoticed for years. A person might own an unusual coin for decades without realizing it. Then one day, a closer inspection reveals something special that completely changes the coin's story. This possibility is one reason coin collecting remains so popular among Americans. The thrill of discovery never disappears. Every coin has the potential to surprise you. The 1999 P. Kennedy half dollar demonstrates this perfectly. It may not look rare. It may not contain silver. It may not be especially old. Yet collectors know that exceptional examples can be surprisingly difficult to find. That's why knowledgeable collectors never rush when searching through Kennedy half dollars. They take their time. They inspect every surface. They study the details carefully. They understand that hidden value often reveals itself only to those willing to look closely. Picture a collector sitting at a table late at night with a magnifying glass and a small pile of half dollars. Most coins appear average. Then one coin catches the light differently. The surfaces glow. The details appear unusually sharp. The coin immediately separates itself from the others. That moment of recognition is what every collector hopes to experience. And it can happen almost anywhere. Coin jars, inherited collections, bank rolls, estate sales, flea markets, and forgotten storage boxes have all produced exciting discoveries. Valuable coins are often hiding in places where nobody expects them. So if you come across a 1999 P. Kennedy half dollar, don't dismiss it simply because it looks ordinary. Examine it carefully. Check the luster. Study Kennedy's portrait. Look for unusually sharp details. Search for possible mint errors. Compare it to other examples. The coin sitting unnoticed in a drawer today could be far more interesting than its 50-cent face value suggests. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Treasure doesn't always announce itself. Next coin. The 2017 P. Kennedy half dollar is a modern coin. It isn't silver. It isn't decades old like many classic collectibles. And because it was produced recently, most people assume it could never be worth more than face value. That assumption is exactly why some of the best examples are often overlooked. Imagine receiving a Kennedy half dollar in a bank roll or finding one tucked away in a coin collection. You notice the date, 2017. Your first thought might be that it's too new to be valuable. After all, how could a modern 50-cent piece attract serious collector interest? The answer lies in something that experienced collectors understand very well. Age alone does not determine value. The Philadelphia Mint struck millions of Kennedy half dollars in 2017. But that doesn't mean every example is common in top condition. Collectors are constantly searching for coins with exceptional preservation, strong eye appeal, and outstanding quality. The finest examples can become surprisingly desirable because so few survive without noticeable marks or imperfections. This is where the story becomes interesting. Although Kennedy half dollars are still produced, they rarely circulate in everyday commerce. Most Americans go months or even years without seeing one in change. Many are sold directly to collectors or stored away in rolls and sets. That sounds like it would guarantee perfect condition, but reality is different. Even coins that never circulate can pick up marks during production, packaging, transportation, and storage. Tiny scratches and contact marks can affect a coin's appearance. As a result, Finding an example that truly stands out from the crowd is often harder than people expect. When collectors examine a 2017 P. Kennedy half-dollar, they begin with the surfaces. Bright original luster is one of the first things they look for. Under proper lighting, the coin should display a vibrant shine that moves smoothly across the design. Coins with strong eye appeal immediately attract attention. Next comes the portrait of President Kennedy. Collectors carefully inspect the cheek, jawline, and hair details. These areas often reveal whether a coin has remained well preserved. Cleaner surfaces generally mean stronger collector interest. Now imagine sorting through a roll of Kennedy half-dollars. At first, every coin appears similar. Then one catches your eye. The luster is brighter. The surfaces are cleaner. The details seem sharper. Suddenly, that coin stands apart from all the others. That's exactly the kind of discovery collectors hope to make. Another reason the 2017 P issue is fascinating is that modern collectors compete intensely for the highest graded examples. Registry set collectors are always searching for coins that rank among the best known for their date and mint mark. This competition can create surprising demand. A coin that most people would spend without hesitation might become highly desirable if it survives in extraordinary condition. That's one of the biggest lessons modern coin collecting teaches. Rarity isn't always about how many coins were made. Sometimes it's about how many remain in exceptional condition. The 2017 P. Kennedy half-dollar illustrates this perfectly. Collectors also pay close attention to mint errors. While most 2017 P. Kennedy half-dollars were struck correctly, unusual examples occasionally appear. Off-center strikes, doubled features, clipped planchets, and other production mistakes can attract significant interest from collectors. What's remarkable is that these discoveries still happen today. People continue finding unusual coins in rolls, collections, and inherited accumulations. A coin that looked completely ordinary yesterday may reveal something special under closer examination. This possibility keeps the hobby exciting. Think about how many people overlook modern coins simply because they are recent. They assume valuable discoveries must come from the distant past. Meanwhile, knowledgeable collectors continue searching modern issues because they understand that quality and rarity can exist in any era. The 2017 P. Kennedy half-dollar proves that point beautifully. Picture a collector attending a coin show with a small box of half-dollars. Most visitors walk past them without stopping. Then a specialist takes a closer look and notices one exceptional coin hidden among the group. The surfaces are nearly flawless. The luster is outstanding. The overall appearance is far superior to the average example. Suddenly, a coin that seemed ordinary becomes the center of attention. Moments like that are what make coin collecting so rewarding. The thrill isn't just about money. It's about discovery. It's about finding something special where others see nothing unusual. It's about recognizing hidden value before everyone else does. And that's exactly why Kennedy half-dollars remain so popular with collectors across America. So if you come across a 2017 P. Kennedy half-dollar, don't dismiss it simply because it's modern. Take a closer look. Examine the luster. Check the details. Search for unusual characteristics. Look for signs of exceptional preservation. The coin sitting quietly in a collection today could be the standout example collectors have been searching for. Thanks for watching. As we've seen throughout this video, valuable Kennedy half-dollars don't always look impressive at first glance. Some appear dirty. Some appear scratched. Some seem completely ordinary. Yet hidden among them are coins that command attention from serious collectors.